Welcome! It's the end of the world as we know it. You know, we've talked about many things on this podcast at this point, and I feel, and Gabby and I both feel like we should turn right. And at this point in our lives, we've ignored perhaps the most crucial topic, especially after the last year.
Oh my gosh, I can't believe it.
I know.
It was such an epiphany. Adam, we were just like walking, and Adam, we were started talking about this because we talk about this topic all the time amongst ourselves and with our family and friends.
And I feel like any group of people that's been around each other long enough has started talking about this.
Absolutely.
Gabby, do you want to tell us what our topic is today?
We are going to do part one of our version of End of the World.
Absolutely. So, in case you're wondering, this is not related to the pandemic. This is just like, okay, today we want to talk to you about the end of the world scenarios, what we think would be the best and the worst end of the world apocalyptic scenarios.
Absolutely, because there are so many different varieties that we could find ourselves in the end of the world.
In 1 mile,
and
turn left
so today we're just gonna flesh out like what are the different types of options, scenarios that we might find ourselves in. We don't know.
Absolutely.
In year 2023.
In 2023. Okay, I love it. Okay, so do you want to start it like this? Do we want to do our ideal scenario, like our personal, like what one we think would be the best?
Okay.
Like if we
or the most likely.
Oh, let's go. How about let's do this 3 parts.
Okay.
Our favorite,
okay,
our least favorite, and then what one we actually think is most likely, which could be neither of those two as well.
Okay.
If that makes sense. So the best would be the one that we would say, like, if we have to go into this,
awesome.
we think we would either have either rather die with this scenario, or we think we could do the best in. Do you want to go first or second, my love?
Okay, I'm good either way. Do you have yours already?
I could use a moment.
Okay, I know.
You kick us off. Kick us off.
So my favorite option of our end of the world scenario is one where through some means in the world blowing itself up, we have made it possible so there are like magical powers.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, so we've made it so that, I mean, it probably was through some very bad way,
radiation most likely,
or like some crazy space rock hit the world and transformed the whatever ecological structure or something like that.
Yeah.
Or DNA or something like that. But yeah, so that somehow in this end of the world scenario, we are able to, there's kind of like magical powers, and specifically these magical powers are tied into nature. I think that would be cool.
Is this from the book series you're reading?
No, actually. That's a good point. So we've noted that I read a lot of dystopian books.
Oh no, it was from the movie that was similar.
It's similar to the movie, but they didn't have superpowers in the movie.
The animals were morphed into superpower.
We're referring to Love and Monsters, but that's totally different because that was only animals and creatures got morphed into not magical creatures. They were.
Well, they had powers that were
They had powers. They were transformed.
I would call them superpowers towards the creature, like
the animals. They kind of had superpowers.
For the record, Love and Beasts,
Love and
Monsters was a phenomenal movie, a surprisingly good movie.
I give it a no.
Yeah. Especially,
also, we watch very rare new movies nowadays because we're the pandemic.
Now they're starting to come out though. So okay, carry on. This is interesting.
Okay, so I think in this end of the world scenario, classic end of the world still in that everything we don't have like regular jobs like we do now and everything, like it's somehow it's different, like the world is not structured the same way, but in that well, actually, that's not classic because some end of the worlds do have, it's kind of like this. So I guess it's kind of reverting us back to more of like this agricultural world where, it's a slower paced life because we don't have as much technology and different stuff, but we still have some. We've been able to make some work and also, but we also, there's like magical abilities that exist. And it could be like anything, like very small things, like you can like create one light on your thumb, you know what I mean? So like little, like, but everybody, it's like our DNA has kind of shifted, so everybody does have some type of magical ability, and you kind of have to work that out in the dystopian world.
I like that. I like it very much.
Yeah, I mean, by opening that can of worms, I know it's bad because then you get bad guys with like magical capabilities, and there is that, but I just think it's so cool that we could have magical capabilities. It would totally be cool. I think.
What would you want your magical capability to be?
The world's ending. I feel like you need a magical capability. What would I want my
what would yours
capability to be? Gosh, I mean, this is so crazy. I've never chosen this magical capability ever.
Okay.
But if I'm talking end of the world, I'm actually gonna choose like super smarts.
Super smart. Okay, I like it.
Yeah, like magical super smarts, because I feel like in the end of the world, you just need like an insane like ability to like know stuff, because like you're trying to forage like food, and like now I'll know like what's dangerous and what's not dangerous. You know what I mean? It's like a very just survival. It's not the most fun, but I feel like it would help me survive.
Okay, I love that.
And be very valuable to my team.
I think super smarts is a good one. End of the world, because you need a lot of talents coming up.
No, I take it back. I can't do it.
What?
I take it back. I can never choose super smarts. I think super smarts is so awesome and valuable, but I don't want to be the one with super smarts. Like, that sounds awful to me. So I change it. I'm going to have super healing.
Okay, that's a great power, though.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, Gabby.
Super healing.
So in our day-to-day lives, Gabby is a doctor of psychology, but also wants to be our medical doctor, and we have some differences of medical opinions.
In our home, yes. Adam and I we do. We have different ideas of like what you should eat or how you should treat a cut, and we each say like, I get to be the doctor now. Yeah. And we have very different ways of dealing with that.
One of us is right. So. We know who it is.
Me. So what's your favorite idea of a dystopian world?
I have to go. I would prefer I've got to linger on zombie apocalypse.
What?
Now, here's why. Because I feel like there's an element that we could control in this, and you'll see it in my least favorite scenarios in the next few moments.
Wow, that's crazy.
Not because, I'm going embracing full-on end-of-the-world scenario, but I think it's a better version, because at least there is a chance that you might be able to survive in this.
Wow.
Because, yet again, and you'll see this in my least favorite version, there is an element that you could control, fend, and fight for yourself in here, which I think is a very important part of this scenario. Other scenarios, and yet again, you'll see in my other choices, they'll have a similar train of thought.
Yeah.
That if we can't do those things, we have an enormous problem, because then it's just your odds are left up to fate in a way, and that to me is very unappealing. Wow. I don't mind dying in these end of the world scenarios, but I do want to know that I have given myself a chance, that my death in at least some ways is my own fault versus just pure happen chance.
You do see a lot of people die just by like randomly.
Yeah, versus, so I'll go, can I take the least favorite? And this, because it'll come back to my favorite. It would actually be like an asteroid hitting the Earth or a pandemic-like scenario, because there's no chance. So, for example, like I'll go with COVID-19 here, for example. How terrible would it be in this scenario? Like, yet again, it's completely random kind of who's getting it. Granted, you could try to prevent it, but say there is a superbug that infests the whole world that causes you to die, like Stephen King's novel, The Stand. Great book, by the way. Oh, it's randomly killing off 99.9% of the world? Okay, oh my gosh. Unless I know for a fact that I'm among the survivors, this is a terrible scenario. At least in a zombie apocalypse, okay, I was bitten. I had a chance to fight and fend off and do something for myself.
Okay.
So to me, there is an element of control. Same thing with the asteroid hitting the Earth here. How terrible is this scenario where this thing is just coming to smack me down, and I have no, like, okay, come on. If an asteroid's coming right now, we've seen the projections. We know that there's no hope of us saving humanity right now. We can't even get back to the moon.
Right.
Come on.
Yeah, you have no chance, kind of.
Yeah, and that's
or you have no control, rather.
Yeah, so to me, the end of the world scenario is, I also know I'm not on the NASA space missions. I'm not in these positions where, so I don't want to.
So you wouldn't know it's coming.
Yeah, because I mean, if I was a government leader, I would never tell people the asteroid was coming until it was almost too late. Why cause the terror?
Oh my gosh.
Well, imagine this. In 3 weeks, we know that the asteroid's coming. Why would I care about laws or listening to anybody? And if I was a police officer or military personnel, why would I stand out here trying to defend other people in a causeless fight at moments? I'm going home. I want to see my wife and kids.
Wow, that's true. That's so true.
Yeah. I mean, why would I, doing my duty does not matter. I'm not defending that against,
Wow. So. But you could exit the premises where you think the asteroid's going to hit.
No, but in this scenario, it'd be enough for like a total destruction of the world.
Yeah.
So even say this landed in the Pacific Ocean. Now I've seen Deep Impact, the movie. Oh, now we have a tidal wave 10 miles high coming across, killing. Now there's dust in the air, causing a new ice age. No way to control that aside from going into the super bunker.
Oh my gosh.
And I'm not building a bunker. I'm anti-bunker.
Okay.
What's your least favorite, Gabby?
So that makes me think of my least favorite, because I think that my least favorite is monsters.
Monsters, okay.
Yeah, like some kind of like, I guess like alien invasion monster, or like evil monsters that just like, you know, I don't know, come from somewhere and try to rule the world, or like, or just randomly killing everything. They don't want to rule the world, they just want to destroy, you know what I mean? Like someone that's out to destroy Earth. I guess I'm thinking alien, or just like I said, like the, you know, something that does like change the Earth, and like the creatures become monsters, you know what I mean? But in the same way, like, I mean monsters too, like zombie would be one of my least favorite.
Okay, gotcha.
Because like that's a monster that like it changed people into becoming a monster, like something that would change people into becoming a monster and like not human.
Yeah.
That is my least favorite, because then we're in a world where monsters actually exist tangibly. I mean, spiritually, I think, you know, monsters exist, because I believe that, you know, we have a whole spiritual world fighting among us, and we have Jesus on our side, so that's wonderful. But I do, you know, believe that is the case. But like, you know, I'm saying in a dystopian world,
in a
like,
physical monster.
Yeah, there's like we're driving right now, and it just like, I don't know, like a massive tarantula comes and tries to eat us, like something like that. Like random monsters or zombies coming at it. No, like I don't want monsters. I want my enemy to be human. Yes.
Okay.
I don't want it to be some like hard to kill, like mutated thing or mutated version of a human, because that is really the nightmare.
Okay.
That's the nightmare.
I respect
that.
that.
I don't want that.
Okay, what do you think?
That's the least favorite.
Now we've done favorite, least favorite scenarios.
Yes.
And I guess it could be a repeat on any of the ones we've said, or it could be a completely different scenario that we've not mentioned.
Okay.
What do you think is the most likely end of the world scenario?
The most likely?
Like the one that realistically, this would be the thing that would cause the end of the world.
Oh yeah, okay. So if anybody has ever seen the show Revolution, I've told Adam about this show.
Yeah.
Liam and I were obsessed with this show a couple years ago, and if you saw the show, they had such an opportunity. I feel like they captured what I think will actually be the end of the world.
Okay.
And they could have done so much with it, and they totally ruined it, and it broke. I was so upset because they totally ruined it, and they just did too much other stupid stuff, and they could have just like actually let us see like what's the end of the world going to be like, and train us for what we're going to do. Because after every episode, Liam and I would be like, okay, this is how we would have handled that scenario, because it really felt like this is what's going to happen. So this is what happens, and this is what I think it would be. It's basically like, I forget actually what happens in the first couple episodes, what it is, but something happens like with war, I think. And I think it's like, you know, people, like humans fighting against each other, and the war becomes so massive that we basically like ruin our technology.
Okay.
Like technology kind of implodes upon itself in this war, whether it was from like nuclear bombs or like whatever it was. And the war becomes so intense that the technology breaks down and it can't sustain what we've turned it into.
Okay.
Right?
I want to just reinforce for those that are watching online.
Yeah.
My face would look very puzzled in here. Of like, I have no idea where she's going. I think she's just telling us a TV show. Now I understand where you're going. It's way more reasonable.
No,
so sorry.
So the technology implodes or whatever, and basically now we have like the world has collapsed upon itself because it doesn't know how to function without technology.
Okay.
And it affects, and what was so interesting about it, you see it affects everything. Like, it's not just computers, it's like, you know, we don't have cars anymore because we can't fix cars without technology, and we don't have cars, so we don't have trains, so we don't have planes, so we don't have, you know, communication. Like, it's just everything, you know? So it shows, like, now we go, like, what is our world without that, and how can we function, and like, what does the military look like? Like, the weapons are like downgraded, you know, like all of this kind of stuff, and you go to like a more simple life, and you have to like survive that way. What I was annoyed about is, well, I won't ruin the show, but anyway, I think that's the most likely thing. I think we basically, whatever horrible thing like war probably, happens, it collapses our society basically by collapsing technology, and then we can't function without it.
Okay.
Because we've created ourselves to be this way, and now then we're gonna have to learn how to function without technology.
I love it.
What do you think?
I think the most likely way for the whole world to end will be a asteroid or comet impact. I feel very confident about it.
Really?
Historically, it happens every so many years. Statistically, that I would go with the asteroid impact. I think it's the most likely scenario that we've got going on.
We have that happen already?
We've seen like massive ones hit Earth before. Like in theory, that's what took out the dinosaurs and all that.
Yeah. Okay.
But I feel like statistically, it's only a matter of time until that happens, and it puts us down. I would also say I don't think this will be the end of the Earth, but I think when the magnetic poles reverse order from north to south, I think that will really put us in a bind.
Wow.
So I don't think that'll be the end, but I think it will be a kick to the pants.
Well, that could be the end that we're talking about, because we're saying there are still people, a way smaller population because of whatever devastation has happened, but there's still people alive.
Well, I guess with a not guaranteed future.
That's interesting. Right. They're dying out. Like, are they going to survive?
Yeah, because I don't think it has to be instantaneous, but I would say in your scenario, in my scenarios, it's not a guarantee that they're gone, but what I think the fair way to capitalize an end of the world scenario is there is a serious chance, or even a more likely chance that humans won't survive this. Not guaranteed, okay, no oxygen left on Earth. Okay, everybody dies. Type of thing.
Right, absolutely. Ooh.
Well, we'll be back in part 2 next week.
Yeah.
Woo!